You are exhausted, not because you stopped caring, but because you never stopped trying. And the question you won't say out loud is this: why does obedience feel heavier the longer you carry it? You pray, but the words feel thin. You read scripture, but it feels like work instead of water. You keep showing up, yet something in you feels quietly hollow. You wonder if the problem is effort. Maybe you're not disciplined enough. Maybe you need to try harder, focus more, fix what's broken inside. So you push, you add more structure, more rules, more pressure, and for a moment it feels responsible, even faithful. But the weariness doesn't lift, it settles deeper. And now you're tired in places effort can't reach. You don't want to quit, you don't want to drift, you just want to know why doing everything right still feels wrong. There's a quiet fear underneath it all. What if God expects more than you can sustain? What if rest is only for people who have finished well? You don't say that out loud, you just carry it, and the silence starts to feel like disapproval. Psalm 13:1. For a moment, that verse doesn't solve anything, it simply names the ache. It reminds you that silence is not unfamiliar to faith. Still, you press on. You tell yourself that maturity means endurance, that strength means pushing past the fatigue. But something begins to crack. Not your beliefs, your motivation. You notice how easily irritation rises, how prayer feels more like obligation than desire, how obedience feels detached from love. And now the tension sharpens, because you are doing good things, but not with a free heart. You are faithful, but not alive. You start asking a more dangerous question. What if trying harder is not the answer? What if it's the source of the exhaustion? That thought feels almost disloyal, as if easing the pressure means lowering the standard, as if rest is a form of compromise. Matthew 11:28. The words sound gentle, but they don't let you escape. They don't say stop obeying, they say stop carrying what was never yours. Still, you resist that idea because effort feels controllable and grace feels risky. Effort lets you measure yourself. Grace removes the scoreboard, and without it, you're not sure how to prove you care. So you keep striving, but now the striving feels hollow, and the fatigue feels spiritual, not physical. You realize something unsettling. You've been working for God more than walking with Him. And work, even holy work, will drain you if it replaces trust. That insight brings a brief relief, not because it fixes everything, but because it tells the truth. Yet the tension returns, stronger. If effort isn't the engine, then what is? If striving isn't the path, then how do you move forward without drifting? You fear becoming passive. You fear losing discipline. You fear that rest will turn into neglect. Galatians 3:3. The verse doesn't accuse you, it simply asks whether you've changed fuels mid-journey, whether what began in trust has slowly turned into strain. You sit with that, and it exposes something deeper. You've been trying to maintain your faith instead of receiving it. Maintenance always wears you down. Relationship does not. But relationship requires surrender, not control. This is where the exhaustion has been pointing, not to laziness, but to misplaced weight. You were never meant to carry holiness on your back. You were meant to walk in it step by step, dependent, not driven. Hebrews 4:9-10. Rest is not an escape from obedience. It is obedience that has stopped proving itself. It is faith that trusts God to be God. The clarity arrives quietly. Trying harder didn't fail because you lacked sincerity. It failed because effort was never meant to replace reliance. You still obey, you still show up, but now you release the burden of self-sustainment. You stop asking, am I doing enough? And you start asking, am I trusting enough to stop performing? The tiredness doesn't vanish instantly, but it loosens its grip because your soul recognizes truth before your emotions catch up. You are spiritually exhausted because you lack devotion. You are exhausted because devotion slowly became pressure, and pressure always drains love. The challenge is not to do less, it is to stop carrying what grace already carries, to obey from rest, not for relief. And the next step is simple, but costly. You release the need to earn what was given, and you keep walking, lighter, but no less faithful.